The Sports Source Saturday Kickoff is brought to you by Hearthside Bank and by Madisonville Marine.
Good Saturday morning and welcome into the Sports Source Saturday Kickoff. We are here to get you ready for New Mexico State. Woo! Tennessee, a 40-something point favorite over the Aggies. We're going to break that down. We're also going to take a look at the things that they need to work on today in terms of getting ready for the next two games, which are big, at Florida and then Vanderbilt here. I'm John Pennington. I'm joined by VFL Ollie Lane, joined by VFL Daniel Hood, filling in for Marlon Walls this week. Yes. I've got didn't have one guy, so I brought in his old teammate. That's good. Daniel, thanks for being here. And then right here, John Wilkerson with me as always. John, appreciate you being here.
Appreciate it, John.
This segment of our show is called Setting the Stage, brought to you by Hearthside Bank, always within reach. They have locations all across southeastern Kentucky and eastern Tennessee. Good people, been around for 105 years. If you're looking for trust is their tradition. Hearthsidebank.com is where you can learn more. All right, in this segment, I want to talk a little bit about just in general gist. Tennessee comes in 6-3. They're 3-3 in the SEC. Ranked number 23 in the nation in the latest college football playoff poll. New Mexico State comes in, well, they're 3-6 overall, 1-5 in Conference USA, and their three wins have come against Bryant University in Rhode Island, Tulsa, and Sam Houston State. Tennessee had a week off after a turnover-filled loss to Oklahoma 2 weeks ago. Big picture, though, what is the goal? And I'll start with you, John. What's the goal of this? I mean, you've scheduled this game late. Mm-hmm. It's homecoming. I guess part of the goal is just beat somebody up in front of your old alums. But what is the goal for Tennessee? Why do you schedule a game with a bottom-level team this late in November?
Well, I think it is to give yourself a break from the grind of the SEC schedule, so I think it serves that purpose specifically. It also is what you warm back into after an open date, and then it sets the stage. It allows you to just kind of cleanse the palate and then get ready for the trip to Gainesville, finishing at home against Vanderbilt. So I do like where it falls in the schedule. I like the breakup of the SEC schedule as opposed to playing all four and then the 8-team gauntlet. So I'm kind of for it.
I'm just not big on if you didn't have an open date on the other side of it. Mm-hmm. I would have been better if it was just New Mexico State there or the open date. Did you guys get much out of these late season games when you were playing?
A break. got to take a breath. I mean, these late season games, just to like John's point, it helps break up that gauntlet of an SEC season. I mean, I remember in 2020 when we didn't have these games, it was just straight SEC. That was a grueling season to go through. But being able to have a team like New Mexico State, you got a pretty good chance that even if you don't sleep right, you're going to end up handling this team pretty well. And then, I mean, too, just you're going to be able to get to see some younger guys go in there and play, cheer them on. That's always fun as an older guy, especially when I think back to, like, my later years, being able to watch younger guys that I saw help recruit, bring into the program. Now they're getting their first taste of everything where I was at 6-7 years ago. It definitely adds a little bit of excitement to that one.
Daniel, did you enjoy these games or no?
In terms of playing it, no, because it seems like it was always one of these games that I got an injury in. Like I remember playing, I think it was MTSU, and there's just a boneheaded play. One of them dove at my knee, and I never played the game with knee braces on, so I twisted my knee pretty bad. But the benefit of it was always what, like Ollie said, like you have some guys on your team that pour their heart and soul into the program, the walk-ons, the people like that. And what I loved about these games is being on the sideline, getting to see those guys run down on kickoff, getting big hits, those little things. And like that they may never play in an SEC game, but those are your brothers for what they put in on the field. And seeing those guys, the big wide eyes they get as they run in on the field, they're mixing up the communication and all the little errors that you've made. That right there is beautiful. And of course you get, your scholarship players that get some experience and all that. But man, like one of my favorite memories, and it was after one of our coaches had been fired, one of our walk-ons, Carson Anderson, knee braces and everything, got in on kickoff and just ran down and got completely obliterated. But it was just like, that's one moment that I'll remember as much as any moment in my career against a nobody team.
So the Rudy moments for the guys who don't get to play much. Okay. Well, here's the thing. Tennessee should jump all over this team this afternoon. They should jump on them early. And that's what I want to talk about in this first segment, really, because, again, we're not going to get into a deep breakdown of New Mexico State. We do have a scouting report segment coming up in case you don't know a single name on their team. We'll throw out a name or two. But I do want to talk about just some numbers that I think they're not going to mean much today, but they're going to mean something moving forward. And let's put these numbers on your screen. You guys have them here at the desk in front of you. Tennessee has outscored their opponents 131-45 in the first quarter of games this year. And that's just terrific. That's back to the way it used to be. We did an off-season show on the Sports Source Digital Network where we talked about the fact that what happened in your first quarter offense. It used to be an avalanche. Okay, now it's back to being an avalanche. But after that initial barrage, they have won the remaining three quarters just 261-235. So it evens out there. 3 times this year, teams have actually outscored Tennessee over the last 3 quarters. Georgia by 17, Alabama by 10, Oklahoma by 9. Loss, loss, loss. So jumping out to a big early lead is key for this bunch. But when you look at these numbers impacted by the 3 non-conference games in those first 5, first quarter scoring was 93-14 versus Syracuse, East Tennessee State, UAB, Georgia, and Mississippi State. 93-14 your first 5 games. Schedule got a little tougher the last 4 games. Alabama, Arkansas, Kentucky, Oklahoma. You're 38-38 in the first quarter. When you see what this team needs to do, that's not good enough. This team needs to be front runners.
Yes.
They need to get out there early. You've played in this offense. Talk to me about the importance of getting back on track. You want to do it today. You should do it today. But certainly these last 3 games, you need to be getting back to where the first quarter is not a slog.
Yes.
You need to have that lead, get up to the early lead, and then hope that the other guy can't catch you. It's kind of the basic plan for this offense.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, look, this offense, when they want to, they can come out super explosive and super effective every single time in that almost the first half of the game. I mean, I always think back to the Georgia game this year. I mean, that first quarter, they scored 3 touchdowns on the first 3 drives like it was nothing. And that's a big important aspect of this offense is if you can get it started early, it's harder to slow that thing down. You get things rolling for you. You get people thinking fast. And then when you're throwing up a bunch of points really fast on a defense, that defense starts to get discouraged. And that's what helps us so much is that when you can get a big 2-3 score lead on a team and they're like, whoa, what happened? I thought the game just started. You change the mentality of the game and you change the whole flow of that football game. But recently, I feel like what you've seen is just an offense that's struggling when they're coming out of the break, especially that half. It seems like the halftime adjustments is where you're kind of losing it a little bit when you get into that third and that fourth quarter. It seems like either the other teams caught on to something through that first half and said, all right, this is what they're trying to attack us with. We're just going to take that away from them. And then we never come back with that next answer. So it'll be interesting to see if they can continue to pick this up because, look, the offense is explosive. I think a lot of people always want to put it on par with 22. I think this offense has the ability to be on par with that offense, and they have shown it throughout the season, but it's just keeping that consistency through quarter 3, quarter 4, where you kind of see that slack off.
Is it a concern that you're only 38-38 in those last 4 games, or do you say you moved it up and down in Oklahoma, but you turned it over 3 times? How do you look at this, John? Do you think that shift going from those first 5 games to the last 4 games when you were piling it up and blowing people out early and then they couldn't catch up versus, oh gosh, we're neck and neck coming out of the first. It's almost like a horse race where you're riding a Tennessee offense as your horse here. Old Rocky Top you're riding. And you know if you don't have a lead this big at the mile point, first mile, we're going to be in trouble. That's the way it feels to me. Do you have that concern that maybe it's evening up here the last few games, or do you think that's just flukish?
Well, wouldn't say necessarily flukish. I would point it out case by case. You can see where the balance comes from because Alabama, you fall behind. then you start to rally, but you have the disastrous turnover right at the end of the half. For Oklahoma, you turn it over 3 times. You just literally give it to them, even though, as you mentioned earlier, they're going up and down the field. Kentucky just kept scoring points, but you did too. And then the biggest problem was Arkansas, because they were able to keep pace. You couldn't slow down their running game or their very mobile quarterback. So I do think that, sure, you pointed out it's exactly what you don't want, because once you jump out to the lead, you want to be able to, one, slow them down, because a lead should give your defense the ability and the freedom to pin their ears back and just get flat after the football. Tennessee hadn't been able to do that as well this year as they obviously did last year. And then I also think we've talked about it, the offensive line. It's performed well start to finish, but you've seen the adjustments made by the approach and how to break down, just to find a lane here or a space there to get past the line. I think it's been more of a struggle for Tennessee to run the football and keep Joey Aguilar upright. So I think the offensive line needs a little bit of a boost right now in terms of finishing these last 3 games.
Daniel, any theories on – oh, go ahead. Jump in.
No. I was just going to say, yeah, I'm concerned. And, I mean, you look at the Florida defense that's coming up. Florida's defense has played really well this year. Vanderbilt's defense has played really well. The 2 games that John was mentioning that Tennessee struggled with in the first half, Oklahoma has a great defense. Alabama has an incredible defense as well. And it seems, and to go to your theory question, this also kind of coincides when we started doing that offensive line rotation. We're bringing in David Sanders. We're moving this guy to over here. We're moving this guy to over here. And then in Oklahoma, we all know the big play, the hit, strip sack fumble, and what that led to. So, yeah, I'm concerned with it, but they need to solidify the offensive line, because they solidify that offensive line, we probably don't have that turnover. These numbers are a little bit different. You probably have another win.
Very good. It's one to watch today. If they don't come out of the first quarter with a huge lead today, something's off. But that's one to watch moving forward. Tennessee's got to get back to where they're jumping on people early and trying to make them catch up. All right, when we come back, I told you we'd have your scouting report. That's next, actually. We'll go across the studio, and they'll tell you all about New Mexico State, their coach, their best players. Are there any areas where they could give Tennessee trouble? That's next on the Sports Source Saturday Kickoff. Welcome back into the Sports Source Saturday Kickoff. This segment of our show is called The Scouting Report. And Will West, his team, are going to get you ready for New Mexico State. Take it away, Will.
Thanks, John. I'm Will West alongside Vince Farrar and 99.1 The Sports Animal. Ryan Callahan, 247 Sports. Go Vols, 247. Gentlemen, let's break down New Mexico State. Vince, we'll start with you on this one. Head coach for New Mexico State, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Tony Sanchez, he's one of those guys, a little bit unusual for the college level, especially in FBS, coming from the high school ranks. He was at Bishop Gorman High School before he got the UNLV job in the mid-20 teens. And if Bishop Gorman sounds familiar, that's, of course, where Cedric Tillman played. Wasn't highly recruited at the time, and they didn't match out in the times they were there. But great success there, earned that UNLV job, didn't really have the blowout success they expected, and then got the opportunity at New Mexico State. So this is the second year. You know, a lot of rebuild, and they've had some good individual players in New Mexico State, obviously. I mean, the Star Thomases and Diego Pavias, and a lot of guys have gone through that program. Just they're in a transition school where they don't get a chance to keep those guys.
Yeah, and they've had a tough year because they started off 3-2, got off to a pretty good start, and had some reason for optimism coming off a 3-win season last year. But now in year 2, there's already a little bit of heat on them. It sounds like, because they've lost 4 in a row. It's one of those deals where they could be 5-4 or 6-3 if some games had gone differently, but they've had a few close games that have slipped away from them down the stretch. So now you wonder, where is this team mentally coming into this game? Tony Sanchez, it sounds like in a tough spot. He was pretty upset in his post-game press conference after last week's game against Kennesaw State got away from them. So they're at a point in the season. They know they're not going to win this game, obviously, unless something crazy happens against Tennessee. But this is the type of team that really needs something positive to go their way.
It's a tough spot to be in, because you're following Jerry Kill, Tim Beck, Diego Pavia. Right. Those guys have done pretty darn well at an SEC level, maybe even pushing for a playoff spot right now. Right. And you're the guy that follows them at a school with no money whatsoever. That's difficult.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very difficult. Ryan, New Mexico State's best player.
Hard to pick. This team's had a lot of things kind of go wrong for them this year, and so they're struggling a little bit in some ways on both sides of the ball. But I'll point to Logan Fife, the quarterback. He's got 11 touchdown passes and 11 interceptions, so it doesn't sound great on the surface. But according to Pro Football Focus, he has the most big-time throws in Conference USA. So we'll see what that translates to in this game. But they do have the ability to make some big plays down the field. He's had some really good throws. It just sounds like he's got enough negative plays to kind of cancel out the big throws that it's not amounted to much. And it sounds like there's a little more confidence overall in the defense for New Mexico State, because it's something we'll touch on in a minute. But definitely Logan Fife, I think, the guy you kind of watch for. If they're going to make this game interesting at all, he's got to make some really nice plays today in the passing game.
Yeah, he started out at Montana because, and look, that's a power program in the FCS level, so you got to have some ability to be there. A good tight end to throw to, Gavin Harris, but yeah, he's probably the key for them.
Yeah, look, and that's one thing that tight end doing pretty well. Though.
Yeah,
I mean,
Gavin
like
Harris.
really, really successful tight end. They have.
Yeah, just under 50 yards per game receiving, 5th in the nation in receiving yards among tight ends. So they'll go to him, good sized kid, get open. Tennessee hasn't really gone up against a lot of teams with pass catching effective tight ends. So we'll see if that presents any issues.
Well, one thing I like that New Mexico State seems to have done, because I think that for the lower level AAC teams, American Conference teams, Conference USA teams, Sun Belt teams, take those guys from the FCS level. Take those guys who didn't make it to the Power Conference level. Try to do that. And it seems like they've built the roster the right way. The question is Sanchez doing the right things? And not only is Sanchez doing the right things with the talent that he has, it's, again, so tough to follow Jerry Kill, Tim Beck, and Diego Pavia, because you just don't have the horses or guns to be able to perform the way that those guys were able to. Right, Vince, give me an area where New Mexico State could challenge Tennessee in this game.
Well, obviously, any of these things are long shots. But the one thing that New Mexico State is good statistically at is creating turnovers / forcing turnovers. They're 4th in the nation in doing that, with 8 forced fumbles, 12 interceptions. So if you're giving, then they're going to get their hands on the ball and they're going to take advantage of it. So I would say that turnover ability that they have on defense, for their defense against your offense, could potentially present some issues.
Yeah, Nate Mitchell's a safety that's got 3 interceptions. He had 2 in one game just a few weeks ago. So that's a guy that we saw Joey Aguilar, kind of miss some safeties in the middle of the field. If a guy like that gets an opportunity to make a play, you wonder if they can continue this streak. They've had at least one takeaway in every game they played this season. So and they've been in SEC stadiums too. So this is a team that obviously went to Auburn a couple of years ago and pulled a big upset down there. Went to Texas A&M last year. So they're not going to be scared coming into a place like Neyland Stadium, but again, they've got to force some turnovers to have any chance to make this game competitive. Probably.
Yeah, that Auburn game is the only one they've marked out against those Power 4 schools. And you mentioned on defense, they have a couple of guys that have multiple interception games. So they've got some individual skill, and they typically do. We've talked about guys that have moved on to other levels, and the motivation is going to be there. Can Tennessee jump out ahead of them early rather than leaving them in the game? Anytime you have these kind of games, that's what you wonder. But Tennessee has been outstanding at just taking care of business against these level games.
And they're going to be bigger, stronger, faster. Right. Tennessee is, but you do get concerned. Last year when we saw Tennessee play Oklahoma, Brent Venables laid out a book for everyone else on how you defend what Tennessee was doing. Have they done that this year with the way that he used his safeties and Joey Aguilar missed those guys? Not that Tennessee's going to lose this game, but maybe do you see bad Joey Aguilar, a couple of interceptions?
Yeah, that's clearly the path for New Mexico State to make this game interesting. They've got to get Tennessee off their game. They've got to hope Tennessee kind of sleepwalks in this one, frankly, which happens sometimes in these types of games. Tennessee's got to be motivated, but yeah, turnovers would be the key to watch. That's why I think Vince's definitely right to point to that. New Mexico State's not running the ball really well this year. That's one thing that I think concerns you about their chances of even making this a game. If they can't run the ball effectively and Tennessee makes them one-dimensional, it's going to be a long day for them.
And when we come back, how hard will it be for Josh Heupel to have his team ready to play today? We ask a former Vol next.
Welcome back into the Sports Source Saturday Kickoff. This segment of our program is called Volunteer Views. It's brought to you by VFL Daniel Hood and Daniel Hood Roofing. They recently switched to Owens Corning, which allows them to pass those savings along to you. Their new roof prices right now are at a 3-year low. Daniel Hood Roofing, whether you're in Knoxville, Nashville, or anywhere in between. All right, back with VFL Ollie Lane here. Tennessee had a week off. They're coming off a loss. The playoff is now out of reach, and you've got Florida on the other side of this game. You could say it's a sandwich game. You could say there's nothing to play for, whichever way you want to handle it. How hard is it from a starter's standpoint? You've been a starter and obviously started as a backup, as a young guy. Let's take it from the starters first. How hard is it going to be for Josh Heupel to get those starters up to play this afternoon against New Mexico State?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of this effort is going to have to be just getting them refocused back in. I mean, look, you took a big hit, big loss. You're out of the end-all, be-all goals of the season. But now you just kind of got to focus back in. Yeah, you got a tough one against Florida coming up because, I mean, it's in Gainesville. Haven't won there in a long time. But you got to focus on the here and now. And they preach that all throughout the offseason, be in the here and now, the present. And I think it really sticks with those guys throughout the year because when you're getting talked about that in January and now it's November and you're still talking about the same things, then it helps to a point. But at the same time, I think these starters have something to prove. I mean, obviously you lost to Oklahoma and it wasn't the best loss, especially offensively. I think they've got a lot that they want to go out there and prove. A lot of them the last few weeks or so have been saying, well, we left a lot in that game. We left a lot on the field. That's a terrible feeling to have as a player and especially as a starter. So I feel like they're going to be amped up enough to get out there and at least put it on performance for them.
What about as a backup? When you were a younger guy, that had to be easier to get up because you're on the field.
Yeah. No, as a backup, you're juiced up for this game. You're like, oh, I'm actually going to get some field opportunities, get to see myself out there doing what I want to do. And that's a big thing. I mean, look, as a young guy, you're scratching and crawling any way to get yourself onto the field. Yeah. And then when you get those opportunities, you try to make the most of them. And against a team like New Mexico State, you know that the people that are in there aren't better than you. So as a backup, you got a little bit more of that naive confidence that you're going to go out there and perform really well just because it's a lesser tier opponent. Whereas if your first few reps are against like an Alabama or Georgia, you're not as confident going into that game that you're going to perform well. So one, you're going to be juiced up. You're going to have confidence that when you go in there, you are going to play good. Then also you're getting your opportunity. You're getting the ability to put yourself on film, see how you look, let your coaches actually see how you play, and maybe you start earning yourself a little bit more playing time in the mix of all that.
A couple of weeks ago, we talked on the final word about the fact that the offensive line seems to have taken a little bit of a step back when they moved Jesse Perry down a spot to guard and put David Sanders, the all-everything freshman, in there. No knock on Sanders. Yeah. That's what happens when you play a freshman. But he didn't get the opportunity early due to his injury to play against ETSU and UAB, crummy opponents like this. Sorry to anybody that doesn't like hearing get the crummy opponents. But when you look at it and Vegas says there's a 40-point line, it's a crummy opponent. So for David Sanders, how much of an opportunity is this today? He didn't have a great game against Oklahoma, and he made the play that everybody talked about, changed the game, or he didn't make the play. So how much of an opportunity is this for a guy like him, who is actually in the starting lineup but has been thrown into it without a lot of experience?
Yeah, no, it's going to be a big game for him, just being able to, one, get, again, fully immersed in the offense, what we're trying to accomplish. And then, two, I mean, he's probably going to be the starter that's left in there the longest. He needs that valuable opportunities time to get in there against a lesser opponent, kind of get his confidence back under him, because I'm sure his confidence probably took a little bit of a hit after that Oklahoma game, and especially when everybody's hounded him throughout the week. That doesn't help. But at the end of the day, he needs these reps. He needed these reps way back in September. Yeah. But getting them in November is just still as important as it is. So, I mean, he's going to continue to improve. And this game, let alone, will be a huge step in that improvement because he'll get to kind of go out there, feel himself a little bit, play a little bit looser because he knows it's an opponent that can't really do too much to him. And that way he's going to be able to maybe do some new moves or something like that, try some different things out, see what works most comfortable for him in this offense. Because the opportunities he's had have not been great opportunities. I mean, I think Arkansas, Kentucky, Alabama, you name it. I mean, it hasn't been a slight opponent that he's gotten to play against. So this time I think you'll get to see him kind of feel himself a little bit more.
How much confidence can you really get from a game like this? Does it build your confidence? I mean, you're out there playing, you push a guy around, I feel good. Or do you walk back to the locker room and go, I pushed him around, but it's New Mexico State?
I always found confidence in those games, especially like I remember playing.
You're such a cocky guy.
Yeah. No, but I remember playing Tennessee Tech, and I would count up how many times I put somebody on the ground, and that would build confidence for me. It's like, I can put these guys on the ground easy, so that means when we go against a bigger, better opponent, I can move them around a little bit better. Just building those things up. And I mean, plus you offensive line, personally, you don't keep stats on yourself, but those flatbacks, you do add those up. And these are great games to get those cushions in.
There you go. Okay, thanks, Ollie, and we'll see you a little bit later in the show. We'll reconvene over at the poker table. But first, when we come back, how do you get interested? How do you maintain interest in a game that's a 40-point line? Prop bets. Tyler Ivins and Will West and Ryan Callahan have some of those for you next. They're going to preview the game by the numbers. Come on back on the Sports Source Saturday Kickoff. Welcome back into the Sports Source Saturday Kickoff. This segment is called By the Numbers. Tyler Ivins and his team are going to give you some prop bets to help you keep your interest in what should be a blowout over at Neyland Stadium this afternoon.
John Pennington, appreciate it as always. Guys to my left, Ryan Callahan. Guys to my right, Will West. Inside the numbers, let's do a little bit of a look ahead. Later this afternoon, it's New Mexico State from Conference USA. I'm trying to get excited about this. But let's take a look at the Vols. That coming off the open date. Tennessee's allowed 35 touchdowns through 9 games. New Mexico State's only scored 21 touchdowns, gentlemen, through their 9 games. So let's get started right here. Their actual team total in Vegas is 9.5 points. That's total points. So let's talk about the total touchdowns today for the Aggies. Ryan Callahan, over 1.5 trips to the end zone for New Mexico State.
I like that team total. I'm going to say under. I don't see New Mexico State scoring a lot in this game. I just think this is not a very good football team on both sides, but their offense in particular has struggled. Too many turnovers. Can't run the ball, as we'll touch on in a minute. Not protecting the quarterback very well. Tennessee's allowed a lot of points. Reasons to be skeptical about this, but I just don't see them scoring more than maybe 10 points.
Give me the over. I'll go the opposite of that. I think that Tennessee will try to get their starters out as quickly as possible. I think a lot of guys are nicked up, banged up, have been playing through it for a while. Yes, they got a week off. I would think that you'd want to get, not the cobwebs off, play your guys a little bit, but then get them as much rest as possible. And I wonder how good the backups are that we haven't really seen a lot of yet.
Yeah, I love that team total as well. Wink over 9.5. I think the Aggies get at least 10 points. Heck, I think the Aggies get at least 14 points in this game. I think it's going to be 2 trips. Score predictions coming up, but it'll be a low score, but multiple trips again for New Mexico State in this matchup with the Volunteers. Now, UT has gone over 300 passing yards in 5 games this year. So they've been under 300 passing yards in the other 4. So let me ask you, we know what Joey Aguilar has been able to do this year, but we're talking about quarterbacks in the entire room.
Yep.
Will West, over under 299 in the hook for today's Tennessee signal callers.
I am going to take the over again. I think Tennessee's going to do anything they want to. You might have Joey Aguilar leave in the second quarter with 260. So it doesn't take a lot after that. But I think this is whatever Tennessee wants it to be is what this will be, especially offensively. And so I think over 300 is pretty easy.
Yeah, signal callers.
Yes, I'm going easily over. I think Tennessee plays. They better play at least 2 quarterbacks in this game, ideally 3. George McIntyre didn't get to play in the UAB game for some reason. He needs to play in this game. You need to get that guy some experience before next year. So Tennessee will do whatever they want, to your point, and I think they will throw the ball a good bit in this game. New Mexico State secondary can be victimized. I think Tennessee puts up some big numbers.
Copy, meet, paste. You need to see at least 2 quarterbacks, if not 3 today. I would love to be able on Monday ahead of Florida week to talk about Merklinger, McIntyre, and then have Joey get back on track as the SEC's leading passer. Let's stay with New Mexico State. They have the worst rushing offense in the country. You kind of alluded to it just moments ago, Ryan. They're number 136 of 136. They average just 69 yards a game on 29 attempts per game. Atrocious. Vomit emoji. Gentlemen, if you ask, over under 2.5 yards per carry for the New Mexico State Aggies this afternoon, Ryan Callahan.
Give me the under. I think Tennessee is going to shut down their run game, and I think they're going to have some sack yards in here that makes this fairly ugly. So I don't think they're going to run the ball very well. The only thing that makes me wonder is garbage time production, but I bet they throw the ball late in the game instead of running it. So give me the under.
Yeah,
2.5 yards.
Yeah, I'm going to take the under on that as well. I think they're going to make Tennessee's defense look like the 2000 Ravens, 85 Bears. I just think, especially until garbage time, but I agree with Ryan, they might be down 50 at that point.
Yeah.
So they're going to throw the football at that time, play to their strengths. Yeah, Tennessee's going to hold them 2.2, even 1.8 is where I foresee this being.
2-6? 2-6?
I mean, come on. Remember, there's still a fourth quarter that's going to be played here. And I get it. Again, Las Cruces, New Mexico hasn't been hyped since Diego Pavia left. Jerry Kill, Tim Beck, I get it. 2-6 is doable. I mean, come on, you're still on the FBS level of football. I mean, I'm not going to touch this if there was a prop in it, but 2-6, yeah. I mean, it sounds like my GPA. It's probably not so much to be proud of. But yeah, I think Tennessee should at least be in the New Mexico 2-6, 2-7 range.
C's get degrees out of it.
Dog, why do you think I'm here right now with these two lovely gentlemen? Last one, I want to talk about receivers not named Mike Matthews, Chris Brazzell, or Braylon Staley. So pass catchers. We could talk about tight ends or maybe some of the other guys that are in Kelsey Pope's room. So I'm taking those three guys off the table. You look back at the Oklahoma game, nice little showing, but there were plenty of mouths to feed. So if we keep talking about receptions and pass catchers today, we'll all get started with you. I eliminated those three names. 17, 4, as well as Braylon Staley. Forgot his number off the top of my head. 17, right? No. Whatever. 14. Thank you. Over under 69.5 receiving yards. But you can't give me any of those three cats.
Yeah, give me the way over, and tight end is a lot of why I'm going to say that. I think Tennessee's definitely going to have more than 70 receiving yards there. Again, offensively, they will do anything they want to in this game.
It better be way over, honestly, in this game. You need to get Rodarius Jackson some work. The freshman wide receiver has shown some flashes, needs to continue to get some balls thrown his way. Ethan Davis showed up recently, made some nice catches. You need to continue to get him worked into the passing game. Desan Brame, honestly, better play in this game, and Miles Kitselman will catch a couple. I think Tennessee easily clears this number.
Yeah, if we're going to talk about quarterbacks easily clearing the earlier question of 299.5, those wide receivers, not named the three plus the tight ends, the other pass catchers, they need to be heavily involved. Gentlemen, appreciate it as always. When we come back, what do the Vols need to accomplish in a matchup against New Mexico State? Good luck. I want to know what some of these people believe. John, Ollie, Dan Hood, they're going to be able to tell you all that when the Sports Source Saturday Kickoff continues. Welcome back to the Sports Source Saturday Kickoff. This segment of our program is called The Keys to Victory. Brought to you by Madisonville Marine, as big a selection of boats as you'll find anywhere in the state of Tennessee, plus unbeatable prices. There's no better place to buy a boat than Madisonville Marine. Visit them at madmarine.com. This is a blog game. There's no way around it. In fact, I'm interested to see what the actual attendance will be today. Not the paid attendance, but the actual attendance. There have been some grumbling, and then people started grumbling about the grumbling that was going on. So I'll be interested to see how many people show up for this one, New Mexico State. But when you look at today's action, we talked a little earlier, why did you schedule it? All right, you want to get some young people, some experience, et cetera. Let's get into the things that, as fans, you want to see Tennessee achieve today that would make you feel better about Florida and Vanderbilt that's coming down the pike. John, I'll let you start. You got something on your list you want to start with?
Sure. I'll just say get out of your own way. You want the tackling to be crisp. You want to make sure that it's a turnover-free game. You just want to play clean. Just do what you're supposed to do, start to finish, as Ollie pointed to. Knock these guys on their backside and just have the best day ever.
Play clean. And I like you mentioned tackling there. I think clearly this is a team that needs to work on its tackling. Report this week, or maybe end of last week, from Chris Lowe that maybe there isn't a whole lot of full flying tackling that's going on over there in practice. Well, okay, you've scheduled this team for a reason, so get out there and tackle. I don't know how long you want to leave your starters out there to do it, but if you want a team to work on proper angles, proper technique, this is the one to do it.
Yeah, no doubt.
You got one?
Looking at this game, looking at our offense, what I really want to see from them, run the football. Run the ball till you absolutely have no other back that has fresh legs that can run the football for you. I mean, this is a team where I'd like to see us put, 200-plus rushing yards on. And it's just something that we've struggled with, especially the last 3 or 4 games, is just getting that running game started.
Yeah.
I want to see, Deshaun Bishop get his fill early, but then get him out. Let's see what Star Thomas can do. Let's see what Peyton Lewis can do. Let's see what Dwayne Morris can do.
Yeah, Dwan.
Yeah, Dwan Morris. Yeah.
I'm so excited about that guy.
But look, these backs, I think they're super talented backs. They have proven to be good at certain times in the season. Last 4 games, it's not been the cleanest from our running game. This is a game where you clean that up. You hit the holes hard, probably harder than you had before, just because you know you can run through a lot of these tackles. So I'm really excited to hopefully see a big explosion out of the running game today.
We talked about it a couple weeks ago before the Oklahoma game. Just I'm not as confident in this year's run game. It's not like the numbers are horrible. It's just it doesn't feel like when you need it, it's definitely there. Yeah. So get that cranked up today, hopefully to carry over for the last 2 weeks. I'll throw. Well, you got one, Dan?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you got?
Yeah. Mine already, and this has been my biggest disappointment all season, just special teams. I want to see explosive plays in special teams. We've not seen a big kickoff return the entire game. We've not went after a punt to block it. We've had Boo Carter get some good returns against like ETSU and all that, but it looks pretty obvious that guy's not going to be on your team next year. It looks like he's not playing defense anymore. It's time to find a new punt returner too, somebody that can get out there that's going to be a team guy and make your special teams special. This year they've cost you too many points. You know the Mississippi State game. You know the missed field goals that we've had. You know the drop punts. Let's put something on the film to make it look like you should be afraid of our special teams, because right now we're just oozing out there.
Well, I think the Boo Carter thing is interesting because Josh Heupel, they didn't play him on defense, as you said last week, and then the post-game press conference, he referred to the fact that there were a couple of line drives that they could have fielded that they just fair caught. And I just wonder if we won't see somebody back different today.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so what else we got? Anything? Anybody?
Sure. Would love to see something happen for touchdown Tommy Winton, Braylon Harmon, a couple of local guys from Catholic that are in a position to contribute in a game like this. And I do think that Braylon Harmon, that's the whole reason that you invited him to walk on the team. Let him take a shot at returning a punt, returning a kick. That's what he did at Catholic, and he was one of the nation's best. So this is the perfect afternoon in which to just say, let's take a look at that, see what happens.
You do play-by-play for what local high school? Catholic. That's right. I will go with get creative on offense. And not that you need to against New Mexico State, but they haven't shown this is not a trick play kind of an offense. You don't see a lot of, holy smokes, I've never seen that one before. That's just not what they do. And they have a very effective offense. They score 40 points a game, so it's not that they need it, but it would be nice in certain situations if you could go to a little bit more creative play than maybe, say, throw to Jack Van Dorselaer, who's got 2 catches on the year on a 4th down to win a game. I think that maybe this would be a game that if you're not going to use it against Vanderbilt and Florida, at least give them something where they're going to waste 5 minutes at practice worrying about it. Show them something, an end around, do something to make the other team at least have to waste a few minutes in practice, because that's just not Tennessee's thing. They don't do a lot of the, holy smoke, where'd they draw that one up? Even I guess Trent Dilfer a couple of times before he got fired, when he came in here, he ran a couple of those plays where the whole field was everybody was over here except for the center and the quarterback. Okay, that's silly, but at least it makes the other team think a little bit. What if we see this? So I would like to see them get a little bit more creative today. Any others that we have?
Part on that, to follow up on that, get creative with Ethan Davis. I mean, now you got him back. He looks really good when he's got the ball in his hands. Let's keep feeding that guy. Let's see what all he can do. Because, look, no knock on Miles Kisserman. He's been a solid target for us, but he's not had the best season, and I'm probably the season that he wanted to have. So, look, you got Ethan Davis. He looks fired up, amped up to be back out there on the field. Let's see what he can really do. Ever since I've seen him touch the program over there at UT, it was like, that guy has got it. He's got the athletic build. He's got the intangibles that you just can't teach a guy. And so I'm excited to see him get more opportunities and get more out there on the field.
And when none of the running backs have fresh legs, let him carry the ball. Exactly. Did.
Oh, yeah. Quickly, I'll just add, this is a game for fireworks for the kids. Score a lot of touchdowns. Develop your young fan base. Get some fireworks.
There you go. Lots of fireworks. I'll be surprised if they don't. So, okay. When we come back, it's prediction time. We got 9 predictions. Who will pick this with the biggest spread? That's the only question today. What will be the biggest point spread we pick? That's next on the Sports Source Saturday Kickoff. Welcome back to the Sports Source Saturday Kickoff. This segment of our show is called Who Wins and Why. It's brought to you by Rusty Wallace Kia of Knoxville, located on Callahan Drive in Knoxville. Jake Bull and his team will match any deal. They'll beat any deal from any Kia dealer anywhere on the planet. So if you're buying a Kia and you're not buying it at Rusty Wallace Kia of Knoxville on Callahan Drive, you're spending too much money. Rusty Wallace Kia of Knoxville, Callahan Drive. Let's kick it over and start our prediction segment with Vince and Ryan.
All right, prediction time. I'll get things started, Ryan. I'm going to go with Tennessee, obviously winning the game. Go 59-17 Tennessee. And look, their offense in these kind of games, Tennessee always takes care of business. They're sharp out of the gate. The thing you wonder about is how many points and opportunities they're going to give back to the other side. New Mexico State does not have a dynamic offense. Statistically, not great in a lot of areas, but you expect a lot more young players to play in this game, so there may be some more opportunities. Tennessee will run out to a big lead, and then be a lot of backups in the second half. So Tennessee should win easy.
Yeah, I agree. It's a very similar score. I'm going to go Tennessee 59-10.
Okay.
I think New Mexico State just not a very good team on either side of the ball. They're okay defensively at times. Tennessee is probably going to be a much bigger test than anything they've faced this year, though. So I think they're going to pretty much name their score in this game. And New Mexico State, just not getting enough going offensively to make me think they're going to put up a lot of points, even though Tennessee has allowed a good number. They've got a couple tackles. They've allowed a lot of sacks this year, so they're struggling in pass protection. Can't run the ball well. I think the worst run offense in the country. So they're just not a team likely to give Tennessee a real test in this game. I think the Vols win pretty easily.
What can I tell you about New Mexico State? Bad football team. They are one of the worst on the FBS level. Get as many of your reserves in as possible. It's your last chance. Tennessee 58, New Mexico State 14. I want to start looking at my roster card in the third and fourth quarter going, yeah, we haven't seen him. I think it should be two black guys, a raccoon day for the Vols against the Aggies.
Give me Tennessee 66, New Mexico State 17. I think they're going to score some points against Tennessee, especially Tennessee's backups defensively. Tennessee will do anything they want to offensively. I think this is an opportunity to get a lot of young guys work on the offensive side, continue to run your offense. You're cutting a very strong check to New Mexico State for them to come here and get their I dotted. And so black that I a few times, do whatever you have to do. But I don't think Tennessee's good enough defensively to be able to hold New Mexico State to one score or no scores in this game.
All right, time for our predictions. Thanks to everybody on the other side of the studio. Daniel, you are our guest, so I'll let you go first here. Who wins and why?
Going with a Tennessee big win, 72-17. And you got Joey Aguilar, you got Chris Brazzell, Braylon Staley, Mike Matthews. Three-headed monster is going to put up a lot of points today.
72. Yeah, that would match their. Was that their high water mark so far this year?
Yes.
It was 73. Anyway, they've hit 70 twice in the last 2 years. Sean Wilkerson, what are you doing?
Tennessee 67-16, making it a very happy homecoming for the past alumni. I think everybody that gets in is going to want to keep the pedal to the metal.
There you go. I will go Tennessee 62. I'll say 20. Just they've given up some points this year. I don't know who's going to be playing late. So I'll continue. I think it's going to be a cakewalk, but I'll give New Mexico State a few more points, even though they're horrific. Ollie Lane.
Taking the Vols by 50. No, I'm taking, look, Tennessee 56-6. I think it's going to be a really.
Defense is coming through.
Yes. I think it's going to be a really good game. Look, we're from Tennessee. They're from New Mexico. There's a reason why. We belong in the SEC. We're the better team. Let's go out there and show it today.
Okay. Wow. Now, everyone from the land of enchantment is going to be emailing this guy.
Second best state name, by the way.
New Mexico? What's the best?
Last Frontier, Alaska.
Oh, okay. Wanted to ask you two specifically.
Yeah.
Who's the worst team you played? I mean, I'm on the record. I hate these games. I hate them. And you could talk about, well, they're great memories, and you could say, well, there's a point in it. I don't care. I hate it. I just don't like. It's a yawn for me. I mean, tomorrow's Sports Source show will be 99% Florida preview, not New Mexico State breakdown, unless something goes horribly awry today. Who was the worst team you played against when you were at Tennessee?
Man, other than the 21 Vanderbilt team, it would have to be Tennessee Tech. Tennessee Tech was a very easy opponent, like OVC, FCS. Obviously, that's what they were supposed to be. But, man, I was pushing those guys around like it was nothing that day.
Daniel, who's the worst team you played?
Mine would be Austin Peay.
Another FCS team.
Another FCS team, but I loved it. I could tell in the game, quarterback was throwing the ball low, and I was like, I might get one of those. I did get one of those. And I led the SEC in interceptions for 1 week.
Hey, there you go. There you go. Thanks to Austin
Can't
P.
take it away.
Can't take it away. All right. Very good. Daniel Hood, Ollie Lane, John Wilkerson, thanks to all of you guys. I appreciate it. Thanks to the other guys that have been with us today. Thanks to you for watching. There is a big sale going on right now through Monday. Games and Things in Knoxville, or you can visit them on ourgameroom.com. 20 to 50% everything off in their store, and you look at everything you've got behind here, poker table, shuffleboard, the Pop-A-Shot game, jukebox, dartboard, they've got it all. Games and Things. We've got everything tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. WATE 6 in Knoxville, and 3 p.m. on the Sports Source Digital Network if you want to watch the Sports Source 90-minute breakdown. Like I say, a little bit of New Mexico, whole lot of Florida. We'll see you tomorrow, and we'll see you next week right back here for the Sports Source Saturday Kickoff.